One of our recent projects, the one we're working on at the moment, is quite an ambitious one, which is to restore all of the silent Sherlock Holmes series, which was made by a company called Stoll between 1921 and 1923. And I think the particular appeal for a modern audience is not only that they're quite close to the time when Conan Doyle was writing the stories. You know, they're separated by, you know, as little as 20 years, really, sort of closely adapted from the original stories. So they're not just Sherlock Holmes as a character doing some stuff in a film. They are actually following the line of the original Conan Doyle stories, and they were approved by him. He really loved the actor Eileen Norwood as well, who he thought really looked the part. Eileen Norwood, who we see behind me here, was really the great Sherlock Holmes of the silent film era. He was the most prolific, so he played Sherlock Holmes more times than anyone else and still holds the record on the big screen, if not the small screen. We all know that, you know, Hollywood likes a happy ending. It's almost impossible to do a film without a happy ending. It's quite difficult not to make Sherlock Holmes likeable, whereas he's not particularly, you know, in the books. So it's interesting to see him in an early stage of development for the screen. And we're just getting to the point where we're about to premiere the first programme. So what we've done is to take an episode from each of the series, and these will form a programme called Silent Sherlock 3 Classic Cases, which is going to show in the London Film Festival at the Victorian Theatre in Alexandra Palace, which is a very beautifully appropriate venue. I'm particularly excited to restore these Sherlock Holmes films to the public because they've not been available before, and they're the last silent Sherlock related works to be restored. All of the other surviving ones have already been done.
Sherlock has been the most challenging restoration I've worked on, mainly because of the scale. By running the film through your fingers, you can really feel all the any split perfs, any bumps, you know, anything that is unusual, and any damage in the film. Okay, so this film is a nitrate print from 1923. As you can see, it is quite damaged. We have lots of split and broken perfs and also tears in the film. It is very special. It's very special to be able to work on these films that have been here for a century and have lasted a century, and despite all the damage, it is in pretty good condition, especially as, you know, a lot of films over the years have decomposed into powdery, sticky, solid messes. This is done well.
The palette of colours that are used generally help to portray the time of day. And what's nice is that this film changes colour pretty regularly. And this is a flashback, so, you know, this is a flashback to night, and this is a flashback to an interior. You know, most of what restoration is using adjacent frames to you know, copy pixels, or, you know, use them as an algorithm. So this is the section just before Waterloo Station. On the road there, it's irresistible to have a go and remove that frame by frame, just very carefully. Real starts and ends are always the most haggard because they're the bits that kind of went on the floor, or, you know, as it's being wound, electric winder, you know, something. So that's the original on the left. The black level's slightly sat up so you can see all the defects, you know. But hours and hours of cleaning is, and as I said, you know, the early shots on the reel are very often the worst, and this is right at the start of reel 2, a final problem. Ultimately, use equals wear and tear, and you know, let's say, you know, Scandal in Bohemia, probably the first shot on that one is a scene of Baker Street, you know, in the 20s, and I probably spent 3 days on it. One shot, 10 seconds. Themselves, but you know, there are, when we got a very, you know, that's how effective it can be in bringing back the sharpness of the image, and it's generally, I'll play that. So the one on the left is the original, the one on the right is one frame. You know, the new one on its own, let me draw that away.